I promise to make you happy forever. Will you marry me?
The guy got down on one knee, holding out a ring. Tears welled up in the woman's eyes as she smiled, saying yes. Anyone watching might think it was a sweet moment, but I knew who that guy really was, and this wasn't a happy scene for me. Congrats! Can I chat with you for a sec? I chimed in, and his face drained of color instantly. Just a heads up, things are about to get interesting. My name's Iris. I'm 37 and snap wedding photos for a bridal services company. It's all about catching those perfect moments when couples, families, and friends are celebrating the big day. I've been into photography since I was little and always imagined doing something related to it for a living. I learned about wedding photography at a wedding during high school and was hooked. The idea of capturing those important couple moments was so satisfying. Around then, a friend introduced me to Sean. He was a corporate guy who was into photography too. We clicked, and as we got closer, things just felt right. About a year in, we decided to get engaged. For my 25th birthday, he gave me a bunch of roses and popped the question.
I vow to make you happy. Please, marry me.
Yes. I was over the moon. We started planning the wedding, and both our families were super excited. Being the new addition to Sean's family, especially since there were mostly guys and all the women were already married, was pretty cool. Sean's mom, Lauren, was a gem. She treated me like her own, and we got super close, even spending weekends shopping and hanging out. Things with them were awesome until our daughter, Maria, came into the picture. After she arrived, something shifted with Sean. We both had jobs, and we'd always split the household tasks. He'd never had an issue with our setup before, but then our daughter came along, and boy, did that change things. Even when I was tackling the house chores, she'd need my attention. By the time I wrapped up tasks after she was asleep, it'd be super late, throwing me off for work the next day. It felt like I was juggling work, chores, and baby duty nonstop. And Sean? He'd just shrug and say,
Isn't childcare supposed to be a mom thing?
And wouldn't pitch in with our little one at all. He started slacking on his part of the housework. I tried talking it out, saying something like, Can you watch Maria for a bit? I've got some urgent work stuff, and the house is a mess. But he'd make a face and go,
Nah, I'm beat for my job. Just multitask with Maria. Isn't it a mom's job to look after the kid? Step up your game.
I fired back. I'm doing the best I can. Plus, you've been letting things slide too, like forgetting the trash and leaving the bathroom dirty. He snapped.
You always pull the kid card to get out of chores. You've been doing the bare minimum, like getting takeout and cutting corners on cleaning.
Come on. Kids have to be the priority. If Maria got sick, I'd have to ask for a time off, and that might tick off my coworkers. But quitting wasn't an option. We needed the paycheck. So work came before house chores. I just wished he'd step up with Maria. Never imagined he'd pull this after we had a baby. But with him checking out, I was on my own. The idea of splitting up did cross my mind with all the stress, but thinking of Maria, I just couldn't go there. One day, I just couldn't take it anymore and passed out right at our front door. When I woke up, I was back in bed with Lauren, my mother-in-law, looking super worried. Oh, Iris, so glad to see you're okay. Lauren, why are you here?
I tried calling, but when I couldn't get through, I came over. Found you right at the door. Scared the life out of me.
She let me know she'd been looking after our daughter since I blacked out. Tears streamed down my face as I spilled everything about Sean's lack of help with our daughter and around the house. She was livid, calling up her husband. In no time, my father-in-law Mike showed up, apologizing for Sean's actions. When Sean got home, boy, did he get an earful from both of them. I'd never seen them so fired up. Sean just sat there looking like a deer in headlights. After that intervention, he really stepped up with helping around the house and with our daughter. My health improved, and I couldn't be more grateful to my in-laws for stepping in. Things were looking up for our marriage, or so I thought. Fast forward a few years, and our little Maria was now 10. It was just me and her in our apartment, while Sean had been off on a work project for 3 years. Apparently, he was the man for the job. We decided not to move with him since Maria was getting settled with her new friends. We kept in touch as best as we could, using FaceTime and Zoom, but around a year ago, things got weird. He became more elusive, often getting back to me hours after I tried reaching out, and not just on weekdays, but weekends too. When I'd ask what was up, he'd just say,
I was taking a break. What's the big deal?
He also got a bit cold with Maria and me. One day she said, "When can I see you next, Dad? I've got so many stories about my school and friends." All he said was,
I'm buried in work right now. You have to wait. Talk to your mom about your stuff.
I snapped. Seriously? She just wants to chat. Can't you make some time?
I told you I'm snowed under. I've got no time for a chit-chat. Let's not go over this again.
Clearly, he wasn't into it. Even being miles away, he had always sent gifts for Maria's birthdays and holidays. But recently, he started using excuses like not knowing what to get or being short on cash. His change in behavior had me worried, and poor Maria, she was taking it hard. Just when I was trying to figure things out, a friend from school invited us to Disneyland. We have coffees and even go on trips together. She knew what was going on with Sean and probably thought it would cheer us up. Thinking of Maria, I jumped at the chance. We had an absolute blast at Disneyland. The kids were on cloud 9 with all the rides, and us adults even got emotional at the parades. "Mom, let's hit that ride next. Come on." Maria was pulling me along, all excited. It was just so great to see her this happy. After grabbing a bite, we headed for the castle. When we got there, there was this crowd all buzzing about something. People were saying, "How romantic," and "He's brave." We had to see what was up. There was this couple right in front of the castle. The guy was down on one knee with a ring saying,
I want to be right there next to you from now on. I want to make you the happiest person ever. Will you marry me?
"Of course. I'm looking forward to our future." Everyone was super pumped about this public proposal. But me? I was in shock because I knew that guy. Maria's voice trembled with surprise. "Why is Dad proposing to a woman I've never seen?" Yep, that was my husband, Sean, down on one knee. I didn't have words for Maria. Instead, I asked my friend to keep an eye on her as I made my way over to Sean and this mystery woman. When I got close, she gave me a puzzled look and said, "Can I help you?" Sean, though, looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Keeping my cool, I said, "Hi there, I'm Iris, a wedding photographer, and you two look picture perfect. Mind if I snap a few shots?" Her face lit up. "Really? That's awesome." "How about an interview for a magazine piece too?" Before Sean could say anything, she chimed in, "Absolutely." I turned on my voice recorder. Always have it with me because of work. Turns out her name's Christina, a good 10 years younger than Sean. She's even introduced him to her folks. She thought he was divorced, having escaped a terrible marriage. "He's been nothing but wonderful to me. His ex sounds like a real piece of work. I'll treat him right." I watched as Sean squirmed, then took a bunch of pictures including their new rings. After swapping contact info and promising to circle back if the magazine was interested, I left them. Back with my friend, she looked worried. "What was that about?" I just shrugged, not wanting to get into it. As Maria and I headed home, my phone blew up with calls and texts from Sean. I ignored them all. His explanations? Couldn't care less. He's going to wish he never crossed me. A couple of days later, he called, sounding panicked.
What have you done?
He rambled on about problems at work. I snapped. You brought this on yourself. You cheated. You lied to such a young woman and fricking proposed to her. What's wrong with you? He didn't have much to say after that. Later on, I met up with Christina and laid out the whole story. She was angry and hurt, especially when I showed her our wedding photos. I had no idea, she said, sounding heartbroken. He told me you two were done. I don't even know how to apologize to you. You don't need to apologize. We've both been played. I feel horrible for what my husband has done to you." I could not blame her for what has happened. If I had discovered Sean's affair earlier, she might have been spared. She gave back Sean's ring and ended things with him. Then she dropped a bombshell at his workplace. I bet they weren't too thrilled with him. When I finally spoke to Sean, I didn't hold back. "Obviously, I'm leaving you. Get ready to pay up for what you've done." He tried to bargain.
"Look, I ended things with Christina. Let's work this out."
I shot back. "Have you lost your mind? The moment you started this, it was done. And just so you're clear, I've got all the proof I need. Photos, recordings, you name it." Christina even offered to compensate me, but she's not the one to blame here, so I turned her down. Christina handed over their text messages and photos as evidence instead of a financial settlement. "Just so you know, I've shown everyone the evidence of your affair. Both our families know, and trust me, they're livid." Sean, sounding desperate, said,
"Look, I'm truly sorry. Being on my own made me do stupid things. But a divorce? Think about Maria. It's gonna be rough for her with just one parent."
I couldn't believe he'd go as far as proposing to someone else while we were still married, and then use our daughter to try and make things right. I fired back. "Growing up with a dad who cheats is a whole lot worse than having a single mom. I'll take care of her. And just so you know, she thinks it's weird you're with someone so much younger. She doesn't want to see you anymore." He barely managed to say,
"Can I just talk to her once?"
But I'd had enough. "Stop it. Right now, the only fatherly thing left for you to do is pay child support. And keep your distance. Never come near us again." With that, I hung up, leaving him crying on the line. Soon after, we finalized the divorce. Naturally, I got custody of Maria, along with a settlement and child support. We moved in with my parents, who welcomed us back with love. My in-laws called a few days later, full of apologies, with Lauren being especially heartbroken. From what they told me, Sean's stunt had repercussions at work, resulting in a demotion. If he ever went back, he'd be stuck in a dead-end department. They made sure he's paying Maria's child support by having him live with them, with clear threats of cutting him off if he skips even one payment. Now, he's just grinding away, getting side-eye from everyone. My in-laws have been amazing, though. Maria loves spending time with them, and they light up her world. As for me, I'm focused on what's ahead and committed to doing everything I can to keep Maria happy. I'm ready to take on the world.